Hi you, I am Atyla Rica and welcome back to Self-Discovery the Academy, the place where we excavate the mud and the gunk and discover the gold within. First and foremost, thank you for being here and thank you to my 800 over subscribers, okay? Thank you for choosing this journey, for loving yourself enough to look deeper and for making this world brighter by becoming the best version of you. Okay, and then today I'm going to talk about the art of feeling everything. Okay, there is a quiet moment we all know too well. All right, when we start scrolling, opening the fridge, checking our phones over and over. Then we tell ourselves we're just bored. But what are we really doing? We're actually running. Okay, so the moment the noise stops, something inside begins to settle and everything you've been avoiding starts to catch up. So today, let's talk about why we run from our feelings and what happens when we finally stop. Why sitting with your emotions is the bravest, most powerful thing you can ever do, and how it builds a resilience that nothing can break. We live in a culture that has declared war on discomfort. If you are cold, you turn up the heat. If you're hungry, food arrives at your door in 30 minutes. If you feel a flicker of loneliness, awkwardness, or anxiety, you have a black glass rectangle in your pocket, capable of delivering infinite dopamine streams to numb it out within milliseconds. Like what? YouTube, Netflix, TikTok, right? So we have optimized human life to eliminate friction. And without realizing it, we've applied that exact same control panel mindset to our inner lives. When sadness shows up, our instinct is to diagnose it, fix it, or drown it out. Why am I feeling this? I shouldn't feel this. Let me go for a run. Let me read a self-help book. Let me call a friend, or let me eat a packet of Oreos, or let me optimize my morning routine. And then when an anger shows up, we either explode to vent the pressure, or we shove it into a dark basement in our minds and pretend we are above it. Okay? So we treat our emotional spectrum like a Spotify playlist where we're only allowed to listen to the upbeat tracks. The second a slow, mournful, heavy song starts playing, we smash the skip button. Skip, 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 skip. Right? But here's the joke. Your emotions aren't a playlist. Okay? Our emotions are an ecosystem. And when we try to exterminate the storms, we end up turning the entire landscape into a desert. So have you heard about the 90-second rule and the trapped energy? So what actually happens when an emotion arises? Physiologically, an emotion is just a neurochemical event. It's a rush of hormones, a spike in a heart rate, a sensation in our chest, okay, a tightness in our throat, or maybe a knot in our stomach. Neuroscientist Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor found that the physical life cycle of an emotion, from the moment it's triggered to the moment the chemicals flush out of our bloodstream, takes roughly 90 seconds. Okay? 90 seconds. 90. So why does a bout of anxiety or a wave of shame last for hours, days, or even years? Because of the story we built around it. So the moment that 90-second physical surge happens, our analytical brain panics. It says, danger, red alert, heavy feeling detected, and then it starts typing a frantic narrative. Why am I like this? I thought I was over this. This means I'm failing. This means they don't love me. This means I'm never going to figure my life out. Okay? So we take a simple physical sensation and compound it with judgment, resistance, and narrative. Resistance is the multiplier of suffering. Okay, the pain is the primary emotion. So the suffering is our war against the pain. So when we refuse to feel an emotion, it doesn't vanish. Okay, energy cannot be destroyed. It can only change form. So that unexpressed sadness, that unacknowledged grief, that suppressed rage, it doesn't leave. It just relocates. It becomes the sudden snap at your partner over unwashed dishes. Okay, it becomes the unexplained chronic fatigue. It becomes the low grade hum of the refrigerator anxiety that follows you into every room. Okay, it becomes heavy, dense energy stuck on your energetic body, a literal grip, okay, on your soul. But you know what? You have permission to feel and constructively express yourselves. Here is the absolute truth that so many of us need to hear. Okay? We are allowed to feel our emotions. Okay, I certainly don't mean, yes, let's go and whack the bugger. No, that is not what I mean. Okay, do not vent your emotions on a person by humming them or, whacking them, Please don't do that, okay? You have permission. You don't need a valid reason, a courtroom defense, or anyone else's blessing for you to feel what you feel. Okay, anger, grief, jealousy, terror, heartbreak, they're all legitimate. And more than that, expressing your emotions is a non-negotiable must. Okay? Because why? Because we cannot bottle up raw energy forever and expect our mind or body to survive it. Expression is the release valve that cleanses our energetic field. Okay? It keeps that heavy energy from turning into a permanent weight on our spirit, our energetic body. Okay? So, however, and this is where real maturity enters the room. There is a massive difference between expressing an emotion and dumping it onto the world like radioactive waste. Okay, this is where balance comes in. Feeling is the job of the heart and the body, but how we express it requires bringing our logical mind online. Okay, it requires awareness. So unchecked expression without logical awareness is just reactivity. It's tearing someone down in a rage because we feel hurt, or destroying our own life because we feel hopeless. That is not release. That's just spreading and amplifying the pain. It harms others and ultimately it harms us. So the magic happens when we pair raw feeling with conscious awareness, right? We allow ourselves to feel the full raw magnitude of the rage, but our logical mind steps in as the wise steward and asks, how do I release this heavy energy safely? Expression doesn't have to mean screaming at a person. Okay, it can mean going into our car, rolling up the windows, and screaming at the steering wheel. It can mean hitting a heavy bag at the gym, writing a furious letter we immediately burn, or it can also be crying so hard our chest aches, okay? Or maybe dancing wildly in our living room or painting something chaotic on a blank canvas, okay? Expressing through a constructive, positive channel isn't watering down your emotion. It is honoring it. It is the only way to discharge that heavy, sticky energy so it stops gripping our soul while ensuring we leave no collateral damage in our wake. Right? So this is the time to meet ourselves in the dark rooms. Okay? This also brings us to the core of self-discovery. Okay? We cannot figure out who we are if we only meet ourselves on our good days. Imagine having a friend who only hangs out with us when we are funny, successful, and buying drinks. But the second we cry or get stressed, They look at us with disgust and walk out of the room. Now, we cannot call that a friend, okay? That is a authentic parasite, all right? Such people are parasites. So, yet, that is precisely how most of us treat ourselves. We offer ourselves conditional companionship. It's like, I will accept myself as long as I'm calm, productive, happy, and put together. Self-discovery isn't about finding some pristine, perfectly polished version of ourselves at the top of a mountain, okay? It's about walking into the messy, dark, dusty rooms of our own house and realizing, oh, I live here too, and this part of me belongs here. So every emotion you avoid is a piece of yourself you're exiling. Alright, so when you sit with grief, you discover what you truly love. Okay, grief is just love with nowhere to go. If you refuse to feel the grief, you lose touch with the depth of your capacity to love. Right? So when you sit with jealousy instead of judging yourself for being petty, you uncover your true desires. Jealousy is actually just a misdirected roadmap pointing towards something that you are afraid to admit you want. Right? So when we literally sit with our anger, we discover where our boundaries are being crossed. So anger is the guardian of our self-respect, actually. So if we reflexively run from these feelings, we throw away the maps. And then we end up living a life designed by our fears of discomfort, rather than a life designed by our authentic truth. So then comes the practical method that we use to handle our emotions. All right. So let's talk about what sitting with our emotions actually looks like, because it sounds terribly abstract and vague. But people say just feel your feelings. You know, it's like as if you are supposed to sit cross-legged on the floor and stare dramatically out a rainy window like a music video. But it's not that simple. Okay, sitting with an emotion is actually a radically, intensely uncomfortable practice. Okay, it isn't overthinking. In fact, it's the exact opposite of thinking. Okay, so sitting with an emotion means dropping out of our head and dropping down into our body. So the next time a heavy emotion hits, whether it's a sudden dip into loneliness, a flush of embarrassment, or a wave of dread, or a strike of anger, try doing something terrifyingly simple. Stop. Okay? Don't open the app. Don't grab the snack. Just don't explain it to yourself even. Just don't fix it. Just sit down, close your eyes, and get to know yourself, this part of you. Okay? Recognize it, acknowledge it. Locate the physical sensation. Okay? Get to know it. Get to know this part of yourself. Okay? Where is it? Is it a heavy pressure behind your breastbone? Is it a sharp, cold knot in the pit of your stomach? Is it a hot tightness in your throat? Look at it like a scientist observing an unusual species of beetle. Don't call it bad. Don't call it wrong. Strip away the label anxiety or sadness and just experience the raw sensory data. Is it hot or cold? Something like that. Is it moving or still? Is it dense or hollow? Right? And then you offer that sensation something it has probably never received from you before. Permission to exist. Okay, you can say quietly to yourself, it makes sense that you are here right now. I'm willing to feel you. You are a part of me. So I'm going to make friend with you. I'm going to acknowledge you. Then once you have let it be present, you use your awareness to choose your outlet. You move the energy out, maybe through breath or through movement, through tears, through voice, or through art, painting or drawing. You let it exit your body as cleanly as it entered. It feels counterintuitive. Your entire nervous system will scream at you to do literally anything else. It will tell you that if you allow yourself to feel this sadness, you will sink into it and never come back up. That if you let yourself feel this anger, it will consume you. That is the great lie of the ego. Okay, emotions are like wave patterns. You cannot stop a wave by pushing against it. You will just get battered by the white water. But if you dive under it or let it carry you and you float on it, it goes past and breaks on the shore. An emotion only traps you when you refuse to let it move through you. So this is what you need to understand about personal vulnerability and unshakable resilience. Okay, this sitting in your emotions, this is where true resilience is born. Okay, we often confuse endurance with resilience. Endurance is putting your head down, clenching your teeth, and muscling through the storm until you are burnt out. You're a burnt out shell of a human. Okay, endurance is brittle. It holds up until it suddenly snaps under pressure. But resilience is different. Resilience is flexibility. Resilience is the capacity to be bent by life, to feel the full weight of the blow, and to expand around it without breaking. So when you learn to sit with your emotions and express them with conscious awareness, your relationship with life completely changes because you stop being afraid of how things might make you feel. Okay, think about that for a second. What is the real reason we hesitate to take risks? Why do we stay in wrong jobs, avoid asking someone out, delay starting that creative project, or avoid having difficult, honest conversations? It's really the physical consequence that we fear. It's the feeling we think lies on the other side. Okay, we fear the feeling of rejection, or maybe the feeling of embarrassment. We fear the feeling of grief, the feeling of failure, the feeling of disappointment, right? But honestly, these feelings are actually just recalibration of our energetic frequency, right? To find the stable frequency, there's this distortion. Okay, it's just recalibrating. So they are just feelings which have been labeled. Imagine if that feeling has no label. Will you let it sit with you and pass through you? It's just a feeling, okay lah. Just move through me. Well, if I had known this in my teenage years, I would not have struggled with my weight issues. I would not have suffered from an inferiority complex. I had terrible issues with food and my weight. I would not have felt so ashamed of myself when I was accused of something I am not. Okay? I've been accused of something that I have not done. A person like me will see failures as recalibration because I have the knowledge and I see things from a bigger picture. So a person who lacks knowledge will label it as a failure because that was what their own expectations, upbringing, society, or culture has taught them. So your feelings may feel very, very heavy, uncomfortable, and unwanted, but they are valid and they are just part of the plan to recalibrate you so that you can head towards your highest potential. When you build the muscle of sitting with your emotional landscape, when you prove to yourself that you can sit in the fires of discomfort, heartbreak, and awkwardness, and release that energy safely and hold yourself through it, you become extraordinarily free. The threat loses its teeth and loses its grip. You realize, even if this goes completely wrong, even if I get embarrassed, even if my heart breaks, I know how to feel that. I know how to express that without destroying my life. I will be okay. Okay, that is not arrogance. That's emotional resilience. It's the deep, quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are no longer a hostage to your own inner weather. You are free to be human while living the micro moments. Okay? Because I want to be realistic also about this. Okay? This process isn't clean, elegant, or linear. You will have days where you decide, today I'm going to practice mindfulness and sit with my feelings. And 10 minutes later, you find yourself eating peanut butter out of the jar with your hands while watching Netflix. That's fine. All right? Welcome to being human. As it is, we are so good at it already, right? The goal here is not perfection. Okay? The goal is simply to shrink the gap between the moment an emotion arises and the moment you recognize it without judgment. So, say for example, maybe today you spend 3 hours running away from your loneliness before you notice what you are doing. Okay? And then maybe next week it takes you 30 minutes before you notice what you are doing. Right? And then maybe next month you feel the loneliness hit, you take a deep breath, put your hand on your chest and say, I see you. You can sit here with me. And then you go write about it in a journal or take a long walk to let it move through you. This is how we prevent our emotions from eating us up. Okay? That micro moment of self-compassion and conscious choice is where the entire paradigm shifts. Okay? Because we stop treating ourselves like a home improvement project that needs to be constantly fixed, optimized, and debugged. We start treating ourselves like a living, breathing human being who is allowed to feel the full depth and breadth of existence. Your emotions is actually the entire universe. Just know that life is going to throw everything it has at you. It will give you breathtaking joy, quiet awe, and deep connection. But it will also give you heartbreak, loss, uncertainty, grief, anger, disappointment. That is the contract we signed just by being born. So if you try to curate your life so that you only experience the light, you end up living a shallow, anxious, arm's length version of reality. So the next time the storm rolls in, don't run for shelter. Don't reach for the distraction. Sit down, take a breath, and clench your jaw, drop your shoulders, and relax. Drop into yourself, let the wave rise. Bring your awareness online, find your positive outlet, and let that energy move through you. On the other side of that feeling, you won't just find relief. You will find yourself stronger, wiser, grounded, and entirely whole. Alright? So if you make it this far, I'm not going to say, if this video touched your heart today, drop a heart below. Because when I said that in my past few videos, I hear only crickets. Creak, 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 nobody responded. So I'm also not going to tell you to subscribe or leave your comments to interact in order to claim your manifestation, your best self. My intention is to share what is true and authentic so that it may benefit you as much as it has benefited me and my clients. So no, I'm not expecting anything from you. Okay, whatever I'm sharing here comes with no strings attached, and I really, really hope it will help you to achieve and be what you are meant to be, who you are meant to be. Right? So since I might be scary for some of you to engage with, okay, I'm just going to thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for choosing to seek the real, loving, and abundant one within you in the small moments when you had to face yourselves with love and compassion, even on very difficult days. Because that is where everything changes. That is where you become stronger, the real, authentic you. I'll leave it here for today, and I'll see you in the next deep dive.